Hi, everyone. Welcome to the contributor meeting. I'm going to be your host today. I'm Leo. So let's start by sharing my screen. Okay. So starting off with the triage and discussion for next week. So this week we have John and Remington. Some of you found something interesting during triage?
Nothing super interesting. John, do you have any?
Yeah, I don't have anything really interesting either.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, nothing worth mentioning.
Yeah, no.
All right, so moving on for the next one. So do we have volunteers for next week? So we need a secondary and a primary.
Hey, I think I can be primary. I wasn't here for a long time. It's Pasha from Kotrus.
Pasha, okay. Yeah, recognize your voice.
Yeah, I'm without power because internet is bad.
Okay, so Pasha is going to be primary next week, and we need a secondary. Any volunteers?
I would like to volunteer for that. Abhishek.
Abhishek, okay. Let me find you here. Are you in the list? Ah, yeah, found you.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. All right, so we got that done. So we have one topic this week. I think it was added by Javi. Is that right?
Yes.
So Javi, you wanna, let me open this link with you.
Thank you. So this was an issue that we are seeing in one of our services. And the issue primarily is that in some environments, when the data is not available, like when the traffic is not flowing through in the environments, especially the non-production environments, we are seeing that the rollout is getting failed. So we discussed last time that we can add some inconclusive state so that rollout gets paused. On further thinking, I discussed this with Hari. So what we thought was maybe it's a good idea to include a new flag. If you scroll down to the bottom of the screen, Leo, if you scroll down further, I've commented out that maybe if you can include a flag like ignore inconclusive result for any particular environment, if you can add this, what this will do is if the analysis lands up in an inconclusive state, and if we set this ignore conclusive results to true, then it would not pause the rollout, but it will continue to go on with the next steps. I've done some changes for it. If you want, I can do a quick demo. Is that okay?
You want to show the code?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let me stop my screen sharing. Yeah, you can share if you want.
Yeah. So let me show you what so what we can do is, as part of, let's say, we can do this both for background analysis or the analysis step. Essentially, in the rollout analysis, if we can add this field, inclusive, ignore inconclusive result to true, then when the rollout is run, and if we can tell us. So when the rollout is run, if the rollout lands up in an inconclusive state like this, As this is set to true, what we can do is we can kind of so in this case it is inconclusive, right? So now what I can do is I can deploy this. In the template, we do not necessarily have to make things, but the other thing we can do is there are two ways we can control this. One is at metric level, because even at metric level, we conclude the phase of the metric. So if you want to restrict our change only to a specific metric, we can do so by adding this flag in the metric. So that metric passes and the overall analysis passes. Like in our case, we are seeing this only for one specific metric, like the HTTP traffic. Whereas in other cases, if you want to put this flag at a global, at the rollout level, we can introduce this flag at the rollout analysis level as well. For now, I'll just show this one. Yeah, so in this case, if you see the message is, it is an inconclusive analysis run like this, and it is landing in a pause state. Whereas in a previous case, where I was having, although the state lands up in analysis is inconclusive, because I've set this to because I've set this to true, the inconclusive results to true, it would further continue up and roll out the rest of it. So I just wanted to show this one. For some reason, I had a panic in getting these things going, but this is what I wanted to bring up to discussion. Like, is this approach fine if we go with bringing in this new flag where we can decide if we can ignore the inconclusive result in a particular environment?
Just to add to the point, I think Ravi actually wants to discuss or bring this to JC's point to review with JC as well. So I don't see JC here. Maybe I can comment on that. I think more than inline analysis, for background analysis, actually it is useful, because inline analysis, there is a field called inconclusive failure limit, where we can set like how many failures or inconclusive failures we can ignore. But for the background, there is nothing, means even though it is there, for background analysis is like infinite one. We can't really guess how many queries or how many metrics analysis will take. So this one will be useful for background analysis part. But I think, yeah, if any, great, but yeah.
I have a question. I think I didn't catch. So if the field is set to true, and then your result is inconclusive, what happens next? Will we repeat the analysis?
So by default, what is happening is if the analysis is inconclusive, rollout is paused, right?
Yeah, but with this new flag, if it's
new flag, if we ignore inconclusive analysis flag, if we set it to true, then it will not pause there. It will continue with the rest of the steps.
But would it be considered? Oh, okay. So basically, and the use case is to use it as background analysis. So it's considered successful, right? In this case.
Right.
That is right. Yeah, it is considered successful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what
And
is
then-
happening?
Mhm.
The main problem we are seeing here is that there are different in a given pipeline. Rollout is deployed in different environments and before reaching to production, right?
Mhm.
In some environment, in some pre-production environments like QA or perf, when where there is no consistent traffic, this is landing in a failure state. Or if we add the additional conditions like result and the other the result actual condition, it
Mhm.
might get into a paused state because it will become inconclusive. But but the teams doesn't want that. The requirement that they know that they don't expect traffic when they deploy it in a certain period of time,
Mhm.
but they have to wait and come and do that manual roll forward, right? So this is something came out of a practical
Mhm.
problem.
And do you know what? Somehow I was thinking that they would want to wait for the traffic. Is it a use case that let's say they have a analysis and they want it to be either failed or successful, and if there is no traffic and the result is inconclusive, they just want to wait for the traffic. Is it the use case at all, or
Actually, they don't want to actually. So
Mhm.
because for services, sometimes they may not have traffic. For not all services will have traffic all the time.
Mhm.
So in those kind of cases, they want to see three scenarios, right? Whether it will be successful or whether it can be failure. And if it is inconclusive state, they don't want any manual interaction just to come in and promote because they feel okay, there is no traffic and that it's all inconclusive. So let me promote. And
Okay.
instead of that,
Mhm.
they want to actually, if it is an inconclusive, there is no traffic, let it deploy. So that's what they want to do it.
And maybe is it possible to just use success condition expression in success condition to accept no traffic, basically no in the success condition without that feature. Basic in success condition, we're supposed to access the result. We have a result field which is JSON deserialized response from the metric service, and I'm assuming that if there were no traffic, you would get empty object in the result field. And I guess, is it possible to simply provide that expression that success condition expression would return true if result is empty, or if it has if it's not empty and it has appropriate value? Maybe I can share my screen and show you what I mean. It will be easier if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think that is correct. Actually, you can do it. I think Ravi has a corner case where he said like it might be, it might hide some failures.
Yeah, but okay,
Okay.
that's
So-
why. But let me just quickly show, just to make sure we talk about the same thing. And so that's how success condition looks typically. So like this. And I'm assuming, I may be wrong, but my assumption that if there is no traffic, this object is empty. It's basically nothing. And this whole expression fails, considered as false. And that's why rollout eventually became inconclusive. Is it possible to do something like this? Like how is it going to be different? In this case, this would return true, and the rollout became successful, and then basically everything continues. So I'm trying to understand how come we cannot do this.
We can potentially do some. We can apply some logic in the result field and achieve part of it, but it will eventually land at this point. It can become inconclusive, or sometimes what is happening is when the data is not fetched, right? Let's say when the result value itself is null.
Yes.
There is no data. What we are seeing is that rollout is actually failing.
Yeah.
Then go ahead. Then the analysis itself is failing.
But it will. I mean, that's what I think. I was hoping that we can just solve it by using this expression language. This
Right.
this will make it successful, as I understand, because the result would be empty. So this whole thing would give you true, and basically success condition would return true.
Right. So
I also agree with Alex. I think this is more intuitive for users to use instead of adding an additional attribute in the CRD for handling this special case. Having this all defined in the success condition to me sounds more natural. So if we don't have this functionality today, such as Alex is explaining, maybe instead of adding this additional attribute, we could implement this this knowledge, this logic. So it's another way of.
Right. I think the challenge has been that when the data is not being retrieved, I think we need to add that functionality. Then, if data is not at all being retrieved, the analysis run is getting failed. Then we need to handle that use case where it should allow it to continue get some default result. The other way we kind of solved it temporarily is that when there is no data at all, we are defaulting it to 0 and then applying these kind of conditions.
So you're saying right now it doesn't even get here if there is no result. Right? Oh, okay, I understood now. So yeah.
And I don't know how how easy it is for users to come up with this thing. Instead, if we have a flag, I thought it would be more intuitive. But such kind of conditions, I think we need to then update the documentation and let the analysis get that value as null or 0, and then get into the analysis. Let's not fail the analysis in that case when there is no data retrieved.
Yeah, and the reason I proposed it is because I know that success condition is based on the language. So the language was chosen so that we don't have to introduce a bunch of flags because it's supposed to be flexible. That's the main reason. And I was assuming we would get here already because I saw tickets where people were complaining about errors here. Basically, the use case was exactly as you described. People were trying to test in pre-production environments. There were no traffic and they were getting result like the empty object here, and the expression was failing. So, but maybe there are two cases. Maybe there is another case where the query returns non-200 response, and yeah, if this is the case, to be honest, I would recommend to consider another flag that will. Okay, to make a recommendation, I wanted to learn more because I'm pretty sure we already have some flags that it's like basically not every metric return JSON. And I think we already have some kind of configuration to explain to rollout how to treat that result. And maybe if we have something for JSON, I would see if it. Now I'm thinking about a flag that would say, accept non-200 kind of, and let success condition handle the.
Can ignore errors flag or something like that.
Kind of. To be honest, I think it's not so easy for me yet to recommend. I need to think more, but somehow when you explained ignore inconclusive flag, it wasn't clear to me what is it going to do. And looks like right now ignoring inconclusive, basically it would ignore errors. It would work like this flag. It would kind of assume too many things. It would think that if you set this flag to true, that means non-200 response from metric provider means inconclusive, and then it would ignore it basically. And I think it's not true for everyone. Like some people, it will be confusing like for some developers.
My use case where I was trying to set ignore inconclusive is true is essentially in such cases where we have success condition and failed conditions and stuff like that, or when we get 0 values in some specific cases, like in the example that we were discussing. And let's say if I change this from blue to green, and if I try to deploy this one, now in this case, yeah, it started picking it up. In this case, ideally, earlier as we have seen, it would ideally fail in the, I mean, it will get into the rollout analysis run inconclusive, and it will pause the rollout. But because passing in this flag, where I'm saying ignore inconclusive to true, it would, you know, it would go ahead and you know, make it go through the rest of the steps, like as we are seeing here. It will not pause the rollout at any particular step. Essentially, it is making that to qualify as successful instead of inconclusive.
I think, yeah, I got the behavior. Yes, I understood.
So yeah, so this one we are declaring it here, but essentially this flag will translate into analysis run spec. Let me show the analysis run. So yeah, essentially the metric is inconclusive in the analysis run, but because we are setting this flag as inconclusive run, ignore inconclusive to true, we are qualifying this to be successful so that it can proceed for the rest of the steps.
I'm really surprised rollout assumed it's inconclusive, because I have a feeling I would really try to see if we can, I mean, because rollout assumed it is inconclusive. The only condition, the only, you know, reason why it did so, I think it's because it tried to run both success and failure query, got false from both of them, and basically, and then it's fair to say rollout is inconclusive. If it didn't even try, I think it should fail. Yeah, so I would try to see if we can just use this additional check in success query. Basically, not result or result is something. If, and then, yeah, I'm really surprised that rollout thought it is in a conclusive state right now. And I would expect it to run success query. Maybe can we just try? Can we see if we can?
I'll try those additional options and get back to you.
Okay, yeah, and then the less settings we have in rollout, I think the better. In my opinion, this is, it looks like an edge case, and it would be, and that's why the success condition is a it's like, it's not declarative set of flags. Success condition is a language so that it can be flexible. Yeah, if we can work around this edge case using this expression, I think it will just make things simpler. Let's try, please. Let's at least check that.
I agree with that. Do you still like the idea of the error case when, say, the metric server's down or something like that, having that flag, or do you think that's not needed as well?
Yeah, in case of metric server down, I think we should fail in this case, right?
Should just fail and pause like it would do currently?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Oh, no.
I'm speculating. I mean, I'm not that user, but
yeah,
it feels like I would want it to fail. Like I would want to make sure at least I was able to query metric server. It gave me nothing.
Yep, that's fair.
But, yeah.
I agree with that.
All right, that's
All right. So I guess let's continue in the issue, the discussion, right? I guess it's the most
I
appropriate.
will, yeah, since we already spoke about it, I'm going to just, you know, reply in the issue and repeat what I just said, just so that people saw, why we're not moving.
Cool. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Javi. All right, I guess that wraps up the topics we had in the document. Does anybody else have a last minute topic you wanted to discuss this meeting? If not,
Alex, I need, sorry, sorry.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Alex, I need some help in reviewing the notification engine PRs.
Yeah.
Two PRs that have been pending for a couple of months now. If you can get some time to review them, I think that would be helpful.
And I know that Pasha also experienced notification engine engineer. Pasha, if you can help me, I will. Yeah, and I will try to. Yes, Ravi. Okay, I'll just try to prioritize it as soon as possible and review the pairs. Thanks for reminding.
All right. Anything else, anyone? Okay, if not, I'm gonna give you back those minutes and see you next week. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Leo. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo.
Thanks, Leo.
Thanks for hosting.